What's up, everybody? Hoya Rock and the Smokin Word podcast. We are back. I want to thank everybody again who's been supporting us, everybody who's been spreading the word. Keep hitting that like button on the iTunes. Check us out on YouTube and all that good shit. I also want to thank everybody who came out and supported us with the first annual Black and Blue Roll. It was a good thing. We had over 70 people there. We had a lot of fun. We got to train and have laughs, and all for a good cause. I love you. Good looking at Clockwork Jiu-Jitsu, BJJ United, what up, Jared, and all my other dogs out there. The podcast we're dropping today is a very special one. My brother, who was locked up for 26 years, was just released from prison a couple of months ago, and I got to catch up with him probably a month after he was out. He's an old school hardcore guy and a very real motherfucker. Listen to his story, enjoy it, spread the word.
The Smokin Word. The Smokin Word. The Smokin Word. What up, what up, what up? The Smokin Word.
There's a very interesting, one-of-a-kind, amazing human being. I can't even say, I want to say special because I say that all the time, but a very, very amazing entity that we have here today. My brother. We're gonna hear today. We're gonna find out about a person that you may or may not know, but a lot of you guys definitely have heard about him in the most recent years. But my brother Scotty Ebanks, I want to welcome you to the Smokin Word podcast.
Thank you, little brother. I'm happy to be here.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
I've been waiting 26 years to do this.
Yeah, it's been it's been a hell of a ride.
I want everybody out there to know. On the last podcast, we had a couple different, mainly guys in bands that are my people, my family, and blah blah blah. But Scotty over here is a special situation and something that I've been waiting for this podcast for a long time because there's a lot of stuff that I think people need to hear from somebody who lived a life that a lot of people out there try to rap about, try to write songs about, or try to act about. And basically, I want you guys to know who my boy Scotty Ebanks is. I want everybody out there to know the guy that so many people love now, and what made you a special person to people, even though you don't have a band yet.
Well, that's an interesting thing there, too. You don't realize the impact you have on the lives of other people, especially when you're going through the adversity that I had gone through. I was in prison for 25 years, 9 months, and 23 days. I was serving a 22 to life sentence, at which point when I finished the mandatory minimum sentence of 22 years, I was hit at the parole board. I was denied parole twice. So I did an additional 4 years. And so almost 26 years I was in prison, I'm gonna rehash something for the people that are listening, just to kind of bring you up to speed a little bit more before we go on with Scotty. Scotty's my brother and probably one of my oldest friends now. Now I think about it. Basically, we grew up together. Yeah.
And as kids growing up in New York City, we lived a crazy life. A lot of people, a lot of us are now in bands and business owners and all this crazy stuff. But Scotty's situation was a little bit, was a lot of bit different. But everything you're gonna learn about Scotty now basically describes who we all are in this family as people. And you're a very special guy, more than you know, because his situation had people come together organically, to get together to do some real punk rock shit. real hardcore shit. Not just sing a song about it or maybe get a mohawk, but like really look into how society and how growing up and lifestyles could determine the way somebody grows up.
When you put it like that so eloquently, and then I understand my special place. I mean, it took a degree of activism to get me out of prison. And what's more punk rock than that? I mean, when I was in prison, I would see these kids protesting against the World Trade Organization, and I would look at them, and I remember being in the first 2 Tompkins Square Park riots in Manhattan on the Lower East Side. And now that I'm older, I'm saying, man, shit, I would never be out there on the street protesting like that, would have signed again. But to see these kids take up activism, it makes my heart swell up with pride. But that same type of spirit was employed to get me out. And so in that sense, we kind of came full circle,
Yeah, and again, rewinding a little bit, this was the crazy thing that basically, we were friends as kids. The last time I basically see my brother, who's sitting right in front of me, besides visiting him in jail, was when I was 16 years old on the streets of probably the LES or in Queens somewhere.
We're in Demise.
Yeah.
He's playing back. He's like, backlash, face the facts. Because of you, there's no time back.
Again, this is, again, a very special podcast for me that is, again, I'm doing it with my brother who I never thought I would see again, because for a while we even thought he was dead. And another point was we just didn't know how the system was going to work. But we all prayed and you got together because you got us together. Not even knowing it, but you brought a lot of people together. But basically what I want to come back to is basically I just still can't believe my brother's in front of me.
Let go of me lucky charms.
Yeah. But the thing was basically Scotty Ebanks was an old brother of ours who ended up going to prison for something, for a charge he's gonna get into a little bit and give you a little history on his case. But it was basically the first grown up, what do you call it, the big grown up problem or whatever situation that we had to encounter as kids. Was one of our own getting sent to prison for life.
Yeah, it's a life-changing event, not only for me, but like I said before, the impact you have on the lives of others. We as young people just striking out, going into our adulthood, either a death or incarceration, either one of those things would be a major for a teenager or a young adult.
Yeah, if you're familiar with the New York hardcore scene and you're over the age of 35, you definitely know him or have heard of him. Scotty was a staple in the New York hardcore scene. He's been around for a long time. I know all this shit, but I'm letting everybody out there know who you are because people might be wondering, he usually has these guys that are in bands and shit. Who's this guy? And I want people to know your situation because it's a very interesting and crazy situation.
Well, we'll get right to the meat of the matter. I'm a founding father of DMS. I'm the first one, Raymond Oglesby, my brother Jeer, who's a graffiti artist. He was doing his tag, and he used to put DMS on the bottom of his tag. And one day we're sitting in the park, smoking with the fellas, and we just a little quiet moment with he and I on the bench. And I asked him, I say, hey, Jeer, why do you put DMS on the bottom of your tag? He says, man, it's Doc Martin's Stomp. I said, Doc Martin Stomp? He says, yeah, man, if somebody act up, we're going to stomp their ass out, And, me being, at that time crazy, I'm a skinhead, And I said, damn, we always wearing Dr. Martens. We either wearing Dr. Martens, Nikes, or Adidas. That's all we wore all the time. And I said, damn, I feel that. But it meant so much more for me. We had our little street crew back then. And we took that name, we took the moniker because it spoke so much truth to power. It's not just the violence of the street, but, stomping out the negativity that surrounded us, stomping out this myopic thinking and this bullshit individual thinking. It was more like we're going to stomp out those things and bring each other together, be more cohesive as a group, as brothers.
And I want you to you just said something that I want people to know. You brought up we were skins.
Yeah, right?
But let people know what your ethnicity is, just to start, because people already got a picture still to this day of what a skinhead is.
Well, to set the record straight, for those people out there that don't know, the original skinheads, and for those of you that know, you've heard this 1,000 times.
1,001 right now.
1,001 right now. The original skinheads were mixed in ethnicity. They weren't white supremacists. They come from a background of rock steady music, ska music, which gave birth to reggae. When the chord progressions were changed, more of like a barred chord and a linking, and, you know, the Wailing Wailers, which gave birth to the beautiful Bob Marley and the Wailers. They played that kind of slack key style that gave birth to reggae. Well, the kids in England at the time, in the late 60s, they listened to the ska music and they grooved to that, while over here in the States, the big music was the Motown sound. And, you know, then they had the rock music, the heavy influence of that, both in the UK and in North America. But for skinheads, this was an outlet for them, for the Mods, the Teddy Boys. They listen to this ska music, which is popular once again now. It's been popular all the years I've been gone, but still the working class nationalist approach to thing. We're all blue collar kids. We come from that background. In England, it probably had, in its own way, a different profound meaning. The white supremacist groups, they took hold of it, and they brought a bunch of negativity to it, saying that, you know, they want to keep jobs and opportunities for the working class whites of their places. But
crackers.
But, you know, contrary to them, a true skinhead, the reason that we wear the Fred Perry shirt is because it has a laurel on it, which is a unity leaf. That same laurel is around the globe for the United Nations. So the whole concept was to unify people of all races, because we're all poor and we all want a better life, regardless if you were white, black, Asian, South American, wherever you may be from. This is a working class nationalist movement, you know, a conscious thing like that. So it's by far not racist.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure people knew that, because it's crazy that people still associate it with some Nazi shit. And I tell people, we were hardcore skins. And they're like, skinhead's a skinhead. And I'm like, we listen to hardcore music. We had head shade. We listen to Oi music. We listen to ska music.
We listen to Oi.
We listen to everything. We were listening to hip hop, and then we'd throw on the Cro-Mags and throw on AF. You know what I mean? It was
we're hardcore kids from a very unique place. I'm not saying this just to you know, big up where I was born, but we're from New York City. What place is more culturally diverse than that? Of course, we're from the birthplace of hip hop. So being a New Yorker, listening to hip hop, hey, it's par for the course, man. We are hip hop. It's not we getting on the A train, you know, going into the city, you know, getting on the 2 or the 5, you know, getting on the N and the R train in New York City. We are hip hop. We're the sound of the street in our hearts. This is where we're from.
Yeah, it was the word, the street. It was the word on the street.
The word. I cut my teeth on Eric B. and Rakim, you know, KRS-One. This is, we are from New York, you know.
Yeah.
And they represented us in sound. And, you know, while we're into the punk rock and the heavy music, that's also the sound of New York City streets, the hardcore music, the punk rock. It's you know, it's all relevant.
Let me ask you this. Who, I never knew this anyway, but who was the first person to put you on to punk rock and hardcore?
Oh, man. You know, that's an interesting
It felt like we were all born listening to it.
Yeah, you know, looking back, well, we're so damn old. You got to go into the mental archive. The first person that actually introduced me, I was away at school, and a kid named Kevin Cater, he had a Dead Kennedys cassette. And he played, and I thought this was like phenomenal. Like, I thought first, you know, the name of the band was the Dead Kennedys. I was like, oh man, that's so disrespectful, but it's nice. But then I heard these sounds and these concepts, you know, calling the whole LAPD Nazis, you know, California, Uber allies, like you're under occupation from Nazis. It made you think outside of the box. And I was into metal at that time. I was about 12. So we're looking back, man, this is like 1982. And it progressed from there. Then when I really started paying attention, I think it was when I first heard DRI.
Yeah,
I heard DRI somewhere shortly after that. And, I by the time I was 13, going on 14, I found Metallica. I heard Slayer for the first time and just lost my mind. It's been my favorite band. I mean, the guys they get older and they gotten harder. I love my Slayer. Somewhere shortly after that, I seen Agnostic Front play. They opened up for Nevermore.
I forgot about them.
Oh, man. Yeah, they opened up for Nevermore, man.
Forgot about band.
And I seen Roger run out on stage and rip his shirt off. And I seen...
Sexy.
Sexy. There Roger rip his shirt off, hair going all over the place. Vinny slinging the guitar. And I seen this Christ tattooed on his chest with a gas mask and a mushroom cloud. And I said, this is it. This is it. This is my family, and there goes the high priest. So he's like, killing's my business, and business is fine. I'm like, whoa, what is this? I got stuck.
It was a crazy time. Back then I hate being that guy saying back then, but it was crazy back then. And the thing was, there was something about you back then that stuck out, that you like to get your hands dirty. You used to like to get it in. That's what you were known for.
You know what it was? It's a lot of misplaced aggression. A lot of time we point to our past and, there's situations we went through in life. I was abused as a child, and, while I do love my mom and, all forgiveness is there, I forgive my mom. I love her to death. It taught me to be aggressive. Have my parents being, separated and all that thing, and my dad getting custody of me. But we're not using that as a crutch, just merely as an explanation. But being on a scene where, black people in America are a minority as it is in number, being on a scene that's predominantly white at the time. But I always loved hearing these guitars. From hearing Iron Maiden when I was a kid and Judas Priest, I loved hearing guitars, and the progression of the music. But going to these venues and being like one of the few black guys there, you could count us all on hands, or Latinos or Asian. We were in a minority there. And there were white supremacist people there, or people that might have feel that you weren't cool enough. We weren't cool enough to be there. And you got your guard up. And then on the flip side, you come back home, we're in New York City still, you come back home to the hood, to the ghetto, and you see other blacks and Latinos, and they're looking at you like, what are you doing with this, this freaked out white boy shit?
Yeah.
You got your girlfriend's got, my girlfriend at the time had green and black hair, with a ring in her nose. Like, it's like, oh, this is some freaked out shit, but we're happy this way, so you had to be on point. You had to be vigilant all the way around, within the scene itself and on the outside of the scene.
And also, I remember you were one of the guys. I don't see it as much nowadays, but there was a lot of kids that seemed like at a young age, their parents had thrown them out, and kids were living on the streets at a younger age.
Oh, yeah.
A lot more back when we were kids than it seems now.
You know what changed the dynamic probably to a lot of that? The way that... The government got involved with family cases, like issues with kids. Like, we went from the Bureau of Child Welfare to Child Protective Service. I mean, they even changed the name of things. So the way we were raised, and, you used to get, somebody would say, to be lighthearted, you used to get a spanking.
Yeah.
We used to get our ass beat.
Yeah.
Okay. And our parents got their ass beat worse, and our grandparents probably got it like 50 times worse than them. But you used to get fucked up. Nowadays, somebody raised their hand at a kid, they're calling the cops.
Yeah.
Sometimes parents felt in their mind that was the right solution. They figured they'll kick you out and you'll come back in 2 weeks with your tail between your legs and you straighten up. In my case, my dad didn't want the responsibility at that time of being a father. Being a father takes a lot of nurturing and time. And I guess he thought in his mind, because we're tight now. I love my father to death. But, and he's apologized a million times, but he kicked me out of the house, not thinking.
How old are you?
I was 15. He kicked me out in 1985. I'll never forget. It was the wintertime, 1985. It was right before Agnostic Front played with Exodus at L'Amour's. It was mental abuse. Agnostic Front Exodus, and I'll never. That show is significant too. I will get back to that, but and he crumpled up a $20 bill and threw it right in my chest. That was 1985, and I was 15 years old. My dad kicked me out of the house.
Because that's something I wanted to talk about. Because, like I said, it seems now kids do that by choice. You know, feeling, oh, I don't need my, back then it seemed like we had less choices. I was lucky that I was one of the few guys that came from a tight family. A lot of my boys weren't,
Yeah,
and you were
true.
one of the first guys.
Yeah, God bless your parents, man. I love them.
Yeah, and you were one of the first guys, you and Bundy, that I knew that were squatting.
Oh, yeah.
And we're talking 17, 18 years old.
We're
kids.
You're talking about kids, man, that are pretty much like ingenious. I mean, you talk about
survival.
Survival, yeah. Survival, urban survival 101.
That
you find yourself in an abandoned building that some landlord has given up on. If the water is still running and you could board up some of these windows, you're good. And I mean, we've had squats that had gas generators. We ran lines from the local utility, from the damn light. Even in the places where we had no running water, we'd open up the fire hydrant, the Johnny pump. We'd bathe in that, or go down to the YMCA in the morning and go take a shower there after we got some soap that we shoplifted from some store.
You hear this, you little spoiled brats who cry when your iPhone charges in your car and your battery goes dead.
Yeah, pay attention
phone.
And stop raising your voice to your parents. They love you, okay? They can't beat your ass, so you think you're going to take advantage of them.
Exactly. But, all right, I'm trying to paint a picture for people to know your upbringing. We were close. As kids, it was a different time then, obviously. We were growing into just becoming men, some of us, and we were at our wildest.
Yes.
But, we always had, you always had a thing where you and one or two other guys that were around would always bring up the unity part. Like, we got to stick together kind of thing.
Well, I've seen this. Well, I've seen it firsthand. I've seen the power and the beauty and love, of looking after one another. If you sit back and you look that the guy next to you or the girl next to you is, they're not doing too good, and neither are you. But if when y'all are together, you bring the peanut butter, I bring the jelly, and then we make a sandwich. Well, I realized that being on the street, being with Bundy, being with Little Dominic, we and the older guys that were in bands already at the time, like John and the Cro-Mags, and Roger and Vinny and Jimmy Gestapo from Murphy's Law. These guys would see you and they would give you $1 or $2, make sure that you ate. Vinny would say, "Hey, Scotty, pick up this amp head. You could come into the show." I mean, we all looked after each other. So, I learned that from them. But then I said, "Hey, wait a minute. If I make a little money here, I could bring a pizza back and maybe a couple of sodas or some beers, and we could eat that together." So that spun into, looking after one another. And,
to people who were looking in, we were crazy people. We were crazy kids. Mm-hmm. But we weren't doing things. We were doing things. It was actually survival. Not everybody had a home to go to, had 3 meals a day. So, some of us brought food. Some of us brought people home. Some of us robbed people. Some of us, we robbed, we stole, sold drugs. That's what I want to let people know that. The things that we had to do as kids, some of us.
There's one story that always struck me. And there was one girl that she was from Queens, and this girl, her father was sexually abusing her, and so she ran away. And her boyfriend was another skinhead. She was a pretty little gothic girl. She had a low self-esteem and thing, and she would cry at night. She would cry in her sleep and thing because what her father had been doing to her, and she just had to get out of there. And we all wanted to go in and tune in her dad. You wanted to go in there and kick her dad down. And she begged us not to do anything to him. But, this is the type of situation that we faced then. And so you had no choice but to look after each other. Here's a girl that, probably at that time, of course, should have been in some type of therapy and be getting some treatment and love that way. But she was in an abandoned building with a bunch of punk rock kids, and we were her family.
Yeah.
It was real like that,
Now, again, welcome back home.
Oh, thank you very much.
Let's go back now.
Okay.
What got you in the clink? A lot of people that heard your story are curious because they, by the way, thanks to everybody who signed a petition or forwarded a petition for you and helped Scotty out so we could get him out. But let's fill in some people on what got you there, what this was all about, and the real story coming from you and not some internet, fucking, letters on,
I know.
figures online.
It's crazy how things could get spun out of proportion and manipulated. But all of you that are listening to this, you pay close attention to that. Of course, you probably have an idea that everything you hear in the media is not true, or it's been edited. Some of the photos have been photoshopped. Everything has been conveniently wrapped up to confuse the shit out of you or to keep you dumb, deaf, and blind. Well, here it is firsthand. We live here in America. This is a venture capitalist society. Our criminal justice system, while I even haven't been in prison, I do think our criminal justice system in and of itself is a good thing. However, it's set up for people to turn a buck. Now, if you got a prosecutor that is doing this for a living, he wants to win a case. The rules are you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. Well, I'm going to tell you that this doesn't work exactly like that. Not when you have to pay them exorbitant student loans that from going to a law school and you got to pay mortgage on that house and pay your taxes. You just want to win the damn case. If you're a defense attorney, you're going to ask for crazy money because you just want to win a case because you want to make that nut too. All right. So what happened with me, I had a fight with another young man named Ralph Lopez Lantigua. Ralph and I had been friends. I had looked up to him in many ways for being an older punk rock kid. And I can truthfully say that I had love for Ralph. I was doing some things at work. I used to work for a record distributor, and I had a little racket going on. Well, Ralph went and told our supervisor, I don't know what had gotten into him, but I'll get more into that later because it came out in trial. He went and told my supervisor I ended up getting fired from work. At which point I said, when I finally get a hold of him, I'm going to talk to him and I'm going to give him an earful. Because prior to this, I got him the job at the record distribution and he slept on my sofa. I gave him money for his pocket so he could get on the train and money so he could eat lunch. At that time, I was doing bad things. I was working at the record distributor, and I was selling drugs at night, so I had a little apartment in Williamsburg. So I wasn't in an abandoned building no more. I cleaned up really nice, and I was making a little way for myself. When I put two and two together, that Ralph told my supervisor, which ultimately resulted in the termination of my job, I confronted him. He brushed me off, told me pretty much, get the fuck out of my face. I have nothing to say to you. And he was eating a tray of lasagna from the little Italian place over there on Avenue A. And I slapped the lasagna out of his hand. We got separated from each other. That was Tuesday night. Thursday night, I seen him again. I was standing on the corner with a bunch of hoods that were selling drugs on the corner around there at that time and waiting for some of my buddies so I could go and make some money too. And I seen him and I threw my beer bottle at him, which resulted in a melee. There were 7 guys on the corner that know me from the block, from hustling and everything. And there was 4 other punk rock kids that didn't know me. And they came to Ralph's aid because he started to lose the fight. Well, a melee ensued and all 13 of us were fighting. When the smoke cleared, 3 people were stabbed. One of them, Lee Wells, died. The following day, one of the guys that was in the fight got locked up, a young man named Ali Salahuddin. They charged him with the murder. Now, we're going to get to the prosecutor. This is where things get crazy. He made a videotape statement to the prosecutor and implicated me in the murder. An arrest warrant was issued for me. I was locked up 2 months after Lee died, which was March 15th. I was locked up May 15th, 1990. Took 15 months, went to trial. Everything came out. Ralph told, right on the jury stand, that he told my supervisor that I had a racket going on in work. He notified them. They asked him, why did you do this? You know, he didn't give a straight answer, but only thing I could tell you is this, is jealousy. Here's a guy that's 26 years old. I'm 19. At the time I went to trial, I was 20 going on 21. And he would make little comments, you know, look at you, pretty boy, you come in here, you know, he wasn't happy with his life. You got your apartment now, you know, you think you're Big Willie. And I would brush it off. But in truth, it was just a degree of jealousy. And
yeah, it's a rat trait.
Yeah, it was horrible. I let you sleep in my house, eat my food. I look after you, and then you tell my boss that I got a racket at work, that I'm making money on the side. Well, went to trial, and during the trial, they brought corroborating witnesses for both sides. I had 3 people testify for me. One of them was a lady that knows nothing of our scene. She just lived across the street from where we were fighting her. Beautiful lady. Her name is Candace Sawitsky. She told the story as it is. She described each and every one of us, pointed me out in the courtroom, says, I know this boy. I see him. He's out there on the street selling the drugs, but he's a good boy. And my lawyer asked, no, the prosecutor asked her, prosecutor asked her, well, how do you know he's a good boy? Say, oh, he helped me carry my baby stroller up the steps. At that point, you know, I recognized, I said, oh, shit. You know, and I would do random things like that. I mean, I might have been a street kid, but I wasn't like a clown.
Yeah.
You know, I see a woman in need or a small child. I'm going to love the people. You know, I love little kids. I help a lady out. And she says, he didn't stab anyone. He didn't have a knife. He was fighting the guy with the dreadlocks. And at the time, Ralph had dreadlocks and my hair was short. So she described this perfectly from her second story window. The other 2 people that testified and said that I didn't stab anyone were the 2 other kids that got stabbed. Michael McManus and Stephen Coveland. Both of them took the witness stand, and on examination and cross-examination were asked, did Mr. Ebanks stab Lee? And they said, no, Scott didn't stab anybody. He was fighting Ralph. The people that testified against me, Dave DePula, Stacy Brown, and Ralph Lopez Lantigua, the kid I had a fight with. Stacy had a drug charge pending. Dave DePula had a gun possession charge pending. They both were granted immunity in their cases to testify against me. This is what they use. The prosecutor used these people to jam me up and get me 22 to life.
They hit you with... it was 22 to life.
It was 22 to life. Judge Honorable Carol Berkman, she said during my sentencing, she said, Mr. Ebanks is the most intelligent, articulate young person to come into my chambers. I feel that 22 years to life would be sufficient for him to be rehabilitated. No, the max would have been 25 years. So she gave me 3 years less than what would have been max. But in and of itself, 22 years is a lifetime, too. This is what she felt was rehabilitation. What they wanted to do was end the case and get rid of my ass.
From the time the thing happened till you were arrested, how long was that in between?
2 months. Exactly 2 months. March 15th to May 15th.
And where did they get you at?
They locked me up. They arrested me in Jackson Heights, Queens, in junior high school yard 145 on Northern Boulevard.
You remember who was there?
Yeah, you were there.
Okay.
Of course.
I know I was there.
You were there, you know, my brother Double O, Isat Beats was there.
And it was crazy because it was almost surreal.
Yeah, they got a report that I carry guns and everything, so they rolled down on me, pistols drawn. My girl was sitting on my lap. Contrary to the gun, I had a 16-ounce Budweiser on my right hand and my girl in my left. So you know, I was gangster. Yeah, gangster, sitting on the schoolyard stoop with your girl in your lap and a beer.
Yeah, I want everybody to understand this on my point, why this is still crazy to me. The last time I seen Scotty on soil, I was 16 years old, and I'm 29 now. So, right, but you know what I mean. But I was a little kid. You know, we were little kids. You were a little kid.
Yeah.
You know, you went in so how long was the trial?
My trial took place for like about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was pretty much the standard.
Yeah, it was like the standard time, 10 working days.
What the fuck are you thinking when they hit you with that shit? Because we weren't there. When that was going down, people weren't, you know, a lot of this is new to me too, these little sections of time, because we weren't around and we were kids not knowing if we should show up. We didn't know parents were involved. You know, I want everybody out there to don't forget, we're 16, 17, 18-year-old kids while this is going on.
Well, it's crazy. I mean, somebody that's pessimistic would say, this guy's out of his fucking mind. But, you know, I've always been optimistic. I mean, just my makeup. And I knew there was problems with this thing, but I didn't know how deep in I was. I thought, we're going to get them on appeal. You know, we can get this overturned, you know, stuff like that. But when a lie is made, when something is fabricated against you, it's hard to get around things that are made up. I probably would have had it better off if I actually killed Lee.
Yeah, I know you mean.
God bless him and his family. You know, I never got to hug his parents, and they probably could give a fuck about me. But, you know, wherever they are, you know, I love them, and I wish I could help them. You know, I understand the spiritual and the social impact I have on a family. I mean, I did start the fight. So I'm responsible in that had I not thrown the beer bottle at Ralph, this kid would be alive.
Yeah,
you know,
I hear that. I'm the first one. We were talking about karma before.
Yeah.
And I ain't surprised by karma, but none of us deserve none of that shit. Because I know what we deserve to get punished for. We weren't the best kids, but we weren't pieces of shit. We just got into trouble. There was a difference.
Well,
you know what I mean? We wouldn't be here today, and people wouldn't go out of their way to look out for certain people to care for each other if you were a full-blown piece of shit. You or anybody else. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, here's the thing. There's a blessing inside the curse. You know, when you're in it, you don't want to think that you're thinking of yourself as being victimized. You don't want to think that maybe this is happening to you for ultimately a good reason. And had that not have happened, who knows? I could have been dead. I could have got further in the drug game and ended up in the feds. I might have stopped all bad activities, illegal activities, and got me a solid city or state job. You know, I might have my own business. Who's to say? But I was talking to you earlier, and I told you that God doesn't give any of us a burden we can't carry. You know, the burdens that we carry, you know, your shoulders have to be strong enough to do it. And, you know, I when I first heard that statement, I said, oh, man, this is a load of shit. But, you know, I humbled myself and I thought about it, and I realized, man, that this is very true. If you think of all the strong people in life and the things they've had to go through, you know, God must have picked them, you know, the fates, you know, whatever be the situation, you know, you tip your hat to the strong people. You know,
we were talking about that. So many people were talking about that when we were talking about you, that we don't know how the fuck you did it. I don't fucking know how you did it.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, you're a major part of why I was able to do it. You know, when there's a bunch of people that love you, you don't want to let them down. You know, I didn't have a place to fail. Like, failure is not an option, because there's so many people that do look up to me, that do love me, that I, you know, on the darkest days, mornings I would wake up in the cell. I don't want to be here. I don't even want to be alive. I don't want to be here. And I stop and say, hey, stupid, it's not about you alone. You know, then I'd come back from my program or work or lifting weights in the yard or something like that. And, you know, or the CEO would call, Ebanks, you got mail. And I get the mail, and it's like, boom, I got $400 money order in the thing with that. And it was a Hoya, you know, on the envelope. And I say, yeah, look, you think it's so bad. I still got people that love me, you know. I get some pictures, man, from a tour. I get a picture of newborn babies that the brothers and sisters are having kids now. So it's it's about more than me, the individual. It's, you know, about everyone that I love and who loves me.
It was, again, I want also people out there to understand this, that when Scotty went to jail, we had, after the first couple of years when everything happened, the old group of friends we were with had a falling out, and a lot of us fell out of contact with each other. And there was a while after Scotty was already locked up that we had got the word that you were killed. You know, I told you that.
Dude, you know, you said this before. But, how, you know, I'm curious. How did I get killed?
That you got stabbed, that they stabbed you up.
You know, no, that's not nothing to laugh at. I'm sorry. No, it's just out of shock. I laugh.
Yeah, no.
But no, I know, contrary to that, and I know everybody that's listening to this now we got a vision of prison. You know, you people that have been to prison, depending on where you at, which location, you'll know what prison is like. You know, some places are way, way extremely violent. Some places are mildly violent. Some are kind of in between. Well, I was in 9 maximum security prisons in New York State.
Could you name them right now?
Oh, yeah.
Rattle them off real quick.
All right. I was in Attica first. I was in Sing Sing. I was in Auburn Correctional Facility. I was in Sullivan. I was in Elmira. I was in Katsaki for 27 days. I was in Shawanga, which is Maxi Max. I went to Great Meadow Correctional Facility, which we call Comstock, or for the people that know. I was in Eastern Correctional Facility for 7 years. And, oh, yeah, I went back to Katsaki for a little bit in between that for 13 months. So I was in the nine maximum security jails and 5 mediums. I went to Fishkill. I went to Otisville Correctional Facility. I went to Hudson Correctional Facility. I went to Mount McGregor Correctional Facility. They closed it down and sent me to Green, and that's where I came home from.
I hope all you fake rappers out there are hearing this shit. Now you got 9 prisons to rap about that you never been to.
Well, you know something? You know, hey, listen, my brother, he laughing at you and me. I'm going to tell you all something, and this is the God's honest truth. Don't glorify that. You people out there that make music, you know, you're talented artists, man, and I love you. You're not doing anything illegal to turn a buck. But look, there's so many things in life, man, so many things dealing with social consciousness and awareness. We have to heal and love one another. That for you to waste your time naming jails and parts of jails that don't even exist in those jails. I heard somebody in a rhyme say something about a D block or a B block, and the jail that he was talking about didn't have the fucking block. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Were you ever there? Did you, you know? Listen, you could put that same energy and effort into things that are positive and progressive and help people. You know, one of my favorite rappers is Nas. And when he raps about positive shit, oh my God, it's like fucking water from heaven. But, you know, when he says some gangster shit, the shit sounds fire too. But you listen to this kid that's like super black conscious, you know, nation of gods and earths. You know, his father was Muslim. You were raised to be conscious. I love Nas. I love him to death. I say, you don't have to talk about, you know, getting money and this, that, and the next, because it sounds corny.
Yeah.
When you rapping about positive shit and it's so profound, you know, like makes you miss Public Enemy.
Yeah.
You know, from when we were young. But not that, you know, I want to hear the gangster shit now and then too. But in a way, for someone like me, you really don't want to hear it, because I was there.
Yeah.
And it's really not what it's chalked up to be.
Yeah.
You know, we talking about, yo, I was getting money in the hood. Like, it was like, you know, you want to say to the rapper in that lingo, say, nigga, if you wasn't making money like the CIA, you wasn't doing nothing.
Yeah.
All you were a pawn in a big political game that's way over your fucking head. You talking about you getting money, they talking about Iran-Contra affair. They having Senate congressionary meetings, and you got a Colonel Oliver North up here. You talk about you balling. These motherfuckers is emptying airplanes with cocaine.
You were always one of the guys that definitely was, out of all our meathead brothers back then, definitely a guy who was conscious and was smart. You were one of the smarter ones. You always were more aware of what was going on.
Thank you, little brother.
And what I wanted to know this is, now you go in. How old are you when you got locked up? You're 19.
I was 19, yeah.
So you're 19. I know you already a smart dude then. You get hit with this charge. how long you're in there. Well, first of all, once you hit there and you accept, when is it that you accepted that, okay, I'm going to be here for a minute. Now, I'm going to be wild, or I'm going to be back and play my, or when did you sort that out?
All right. There was a transition period. No, excuse me. There was a transition period of, I went to downstate correctional. I didn't even add that one there. That was where you go through reception. I went to downstate, and, I'm like, all right, here we go. You go through the orientation and all that stuff. And from that time, that was August 9th, 91. I made it to Attica September 11th. This is the irony here. I got to Attica on September 11th, 1991. That was right in the middle of the 20th anniversary of the Attica riot. That happened in 1971, September 9th. From September 9th to the 13th, they had locked down a jail on a riot. The prisoners took over. So when I get off the bus at Attica, the COs are standing there lined up with sticks. And we took all our stuff off the bus, and they said, you listen up. It's quiet in the jail right now. We don't want no shit. We're going to take you down if you fuck up. This is the anniversary of the Attica riot. I am scared to death. The place looks like a fucking gigantic, like a dungeon, right? We get in there, man, and there's old timers now. Now you got positive people and you got predators. You had old timers in there that were socially conscious. Maybe they've done their time, they've learned a thing, and they want to impart their wisdom on somebody young. Then they got other guys in there that they want to prey on you. Now, the beauty and grace on my part is, one, thank you very much. I was an intelligent, gifted child. I was an IGC student growing up. I was an honor student my entire life, so academically I was all right. I had finished primary school before I got to prison. The side part is I'm a New York City street kid, so you give me some shit, I can't beat up everybody, but I'm definitely gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
You're gonna know that I'm here. You will know I'm in the room. I will stomp a mud hole in your fucking chest. Well, here I come now, bald head, fresh off the bus, and God bless me, the roughest guys that I come across in the jail all fucking love me. The stick-up kids, the murderers. Hey, kid, come over here and hang out. Hey, come work out. The predators, nowhere around me. For all the years I was locked up, thankful to God, one guy tried me. Bad decision. Now, one guy tried me, popped me in the mouth in the yard, an A-block yard. Well, when the smoke cleared, the COs thought I was stabbing him. Now, I wasn't stabbing him. I was just beating him with my hands. I did my best UFC Bones Jones on his ass, and I beat his ass from the weight pile to the blacktop where they play basketball. Folded him up like a New York pretzel. After that, it was fight, stabbing, fight. I had 13 tier 3s, and
Let people know what that is.
Oh, tier 3s are tickets for violent conduct or drug smuggling or getting high. All of my tier 3s were for fights. 2 of them weren't, so I had 11 tier 3s all fighting. 10 fights, 1 stabbing. And none of them I'm proud of. I'm just painting a picture for you that, yes, if you are pussy, you will be victimized in prison. You have to stand your ground or you're going to get fucking jacked up.
Yeah, this is also the crazy angle with you in prison. Being black, but not, like we said, we're ethnic, but we come from a different world than...
Oh, my goodness.
Then, let's say, the average black kid in jail comes from a hip-hop, that style of background. We come from the hood. We come from the hood / suburbs. We come from rock and roll music, hardcore music, punk rock.
Well,
and in jail, we know this, but in jail, there's, or at least, there's times where people think you gotta choose sides.
Oh, man. Well,
what did you have to deal? We were talking about it earlier, but like...
Just paint the picture in your mind. This is 1992. I'm in Attica. You walk by one cell and you hear say 1, 2, 3, and to the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door. And when you pass by that cell, you hear me with fucking Slayer going like full attack modes, like frantic minds are terrified, lifeless, and they're like, what the fuck is this nigga listening to?
That's what
and oh my god,
the black dudes must have been
the black dudes
crazy. Like,
say that nigga's on some crazy shit. The Puerto Rican brothers and our Dominican brothers say, yo man, he's a loco man. He's a coño man. Basta aquí with the fucking music, right? What kind of thing is that? It's like, yo, that's some devil. That's Satana.
Yeah,
Satana. It's like fucking devil worship music. It's like, nah. It's like, listen, man, they got Rastas that play this music. They ain't like, there ain't no Rasta niggas playing that music, son. It's like, yo, listen, man, look here, listen to the Bad Brains, and like. And then they're hearing HR come through the thing. You don't want me anymore, so I walk right out the door. They're like, what the fuck? Yeah. These dudes are hard too. Oh, I can't fuck with it. But through it all, I just remained me. I just started getting more tapes.
I tell people this. You're the same dude you were when you before you went. And this is what I also try to tell people though. When people say, this guy now is somebody we knew as a kid. Oh, as a kid, he was a rat or he was a whatever. And then now, oh no, he's not like that. No, you're the same person you were. When you're 16 years old, if you're a big mouth wisecracker like me, I'm always going to be a big mouth wisecracker. Right. If you were a guy who liked to fight, you're going to be a guy who likes to fight, even if maybe you don't fight as much. You're going to still. Yeah, you are who you are.
It's all
by then. You're the same dude you were.
Oh.
Before, because I swear, there's not one thing. The craziest, because you were positive back then. I can't believe how you stood positive through all this.
Oh well, there's a lot of contributing factors. I had great teachers in prison. I will say this on the Smokin word. I will say I've had the best teachers that any prison inmate, prisoner, convict, however you want to call us, had. I had teachers, I'm going to name them. David Gilbert of the Weathermen Underground, who was a political activist in the 60s, who was locked up, for his political ideologies and fighting for the civil and human rights for people. I love you always. Herman Bell, who was a BLA member, who is currently locked up too. One of my elders, I love you very much. Seth Hayes, another one of my elders. Jalil, wherever you're at, I love you too, Uncle. All of General, wherever you're at. Barrington, Isop Mabrock Gray, I love you very much. My Rasta elder. Every man that I just mentioned handed me books.
Now, okay, you're 19, you go in. Before you get to that point where you start looking you see other guys that are they're doing it, they're maintaining, and you say, okay, I want to try to do what they're doing.
That you're on a like a seesaw, because that's there right when you get there.
Yeah.
The old timers that are conscious, they try to round up the kids because they don't want the wolves to come for them. They round you up, and I ended up becoming one of them. I ended up becoming one of the people that say, "Oh, this young kid, man." Let me help him out.
So right away, when you got in, right away, all right, let me put it like this. How long was it before you started saying, man, it's not working out with the appeal, and I might be here longer than I was expecting to?
Somewhere around the time where I first went to solitary confinement.
And how long were you in before that?
93.
So you were in how long before?
About 2 years.
So you were in about 2 years, then stuff started looking different, maybe.
It started looking different. I'm in solitary confinement. For stabbing a gangster guy, which was all, in retaliation. He cut an old Jamaican man in the face with a razor, and I jumped on him one.
With that happening, I brought that up again because I knew that got manipulated. By the time that story got to us, that's where I'm assuming you getting stabbed and killed.
That's probably why I had, not just a shock, but to laugh. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been hit too. I've been stabbed in my shoulder too. You get what you give. You're a gladiator. People know that too. But that's probably what that
It's definitely that.
That's what it stems from.
It's definitely that.
You know, I wasn't the one getting the. You know, you're a fighter. You're a fighter, man. You know, you get popped in the mouth, punched in the eye, man. I've been through the whole gamut of that. Getting stabbed in my shoulder. You know, you eat it. You know, you clean it up with some alcohol pads, man. Throw some fucking iodine on it, some A&D ointment, and you keep it pushing. You know what I mean? But my father came to visit me, and he had brought me some food and stuff because, you know, we're allowed to get packages in New York State, 35 pounds a month. And they wouldn't let him leave the food. They said, your son is in a special housing unit. And he said, for what? And they told him for what. And when I got down there, my father hugged me and kissed me and started crying. And he said, son, if you keep this up, they're never going to let you out of jail. And to see my father cry, who's a Vietnam veteran, 606 3rd Air Cavalry, I look up to my dad. You know, he is a professional government-trained killer. To see him break down and cry because his eldest child is in solitary confinement was enough for me to stop, for me to take pause and say, "Look, I got to get my life together or I'm going to be fucked up." You know?
When you got out the box, you think from then you continued with trying to, all right, let me maintain. I'm asking this because there was, like we said before, we were in contact and there was a long time when we lost contact.
Well, around that time when I got out the box, you were in contact with me. Madball had made their first album, Set It Off, and you...
Yeah, I get confused with time because exactly, we seen you and then...
93, 94, Set It Off is out.
Yeah.
Y'all recording Demonstrating My Style. Yeah. And I called you and Elmira. No, I wrote you the letter. And I said, yo, when I get home, yo, I'm going to demonstrate my style. You know, I put the letters up there for you.
Yeah, that was the thing with that. I wanted everybody to know that was pretty coincidental. I don't know what the word is, because coincidental, whatever the word is. But we were celebrating the 20 years of the Demonstrating My Style record. And like Scotty just said, basically, I'll tell the story real quick. You had wrote me a letter.
Yeah.
And we were in the middle of writing the Demonstrating My Style record. And I was going to jam with Maddie at Stigma's house. So I brought the letter because I was like, yo, you know, Stigma always sends you love. And we're like similar people you might have met through, you know, everybody knew each other in jail, whatever. Anyway, and I get to I never forget, I get in Vinny's apartment. I go, yo, Scotty wrote me. I go, check it out. And I hand it to Maddie. And I'm talking with Stigma, whatever. And then Maddie goes, that's it. And I look at him. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, we got the name of the record. He goes, Demonstrating My Style. And you had said, I can't wait to get home so I could demonstrate my style on the dance floor. Yeah. And then, coincidentally, we were going to celebrate that record. And then we got the word not too long after that you were getting released. So it was a kind of a coincidence, you know, coincidentally, that, however the fuck you use that word. But it was pretty bugged out that happened in that way. But so we were in contact. There was a time period where we lost contact, and I forget when. It was between what and what.
It was a 10-year period.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of shit going on at the time with all of us individually. You know, our brother had come home, and you know, some bad spirits had went that way, and you know, he went on the run, and you know, that was 96. And I think the last time you had sent me a bunch of tapes from Roadrunner, you know, I had a whole bunch of nice stuff there too.
We were in jail.
Yeah, we were in jail. But a transition period of my life?
Yeah. So, all right, you're in there, you get out the box. Right?
Yeah,
yeah, so right away, this is the thing, so you connect with older guys. I'm trying to, you know, let people know also, because there's a lot of ways you could go, you know, especially coming from the world we come from, where we're alpha males. You know what I mean? And now you're put in a place full of testosterone.
Full of alpha males.
Alpha males. And you still being, I don't care if you're 21, 25, you're still a kid.
Oh, yeah.
How, at that age, you didn't go overboard? The older guys, but I don't even...
Well, I thank God for this one. I'm intelligent. Like, all right, you go to what you know. Like, you might got a guy in the yard that could bench press 400 pounds. But can you hold a conversation with a a professor in political science. I can. Now, while I don't bench press 400 pounds, I do my 225. You know, in my heyday, my 315. But I'll definitely hold court with somebody that's probably more formally educated than me. I'll definitely be able to. I could sit down with a museum curator and speak about African, Kemetic Egyptian history going back to the Pan grave. I could do that. That was a saving grace for me. I had the grace of both worlds, the beauty of both worlds, being both intelligent and hardcore.
Did you have to kind of pair up with the Jamaicans or with the black dudes at any time while you were in there?
That's like par for the course. I mean, all right, culturally, you go with what you know. I'm Jamaican American. I am Jamaican, but I was born here. I'm American. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I love America. I'm a New York Giants fan. I'm a Yankees fan, a Knicks fan, and an Islander fan. You go around the sports guys. They love sports. I speak sports. They played football in the jail. I was in Attica. They had equipment there. I played 2 seasons in the jail. I played in Eastern Correctional Facility. I played football there. So you get around the athletes. You get around the bookworms. And you engross yourself in those things. You work out. You start learning about nutrition. Being I'm already a punk rock kid, you get around the people that are conspiracy theorists, or the people that you got the far extreme people in there too.
Yeah.
Yo, don't eat that, my brother. It's got swine in it. Yeah. There's too much soybean in it. It's gonna give you too much estrogen. It's gonna shrivel up your nuts like raisins. And you take food for thought. I mean, some of the shit that guys are reading, we're into holistic medicine now. Now, the new thing now, everybody's vegan out here. Well, lo and behold, guys are trying to be vegan in the jail. Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah. Oh, no, I don't eat mess hall food. It's like, it's high in carbs. I'm watching my weight. Well, you get around the people that are positive, man. And, I already seen outside the box. So, I found myself around these people. And then on my own introspection, I knew where I wanted to be. I didn't want to be the 30-something in the jail that was a jerk off with a big razor cut in my face and, some, crappy tattoos. I wanted to come out of this alive. I realized that if I do get out of jail, I won't be as young as I am at that time, but I'll still be young enough to have a nice young wife and have a couple of babies. I'm single. I don't have any kids. I'm still, still got my looks. I don't look like I fell out the ugly tree and had every branch. You know what I mean? But I realized that I would still have life in front of me.
Definitely.
That I could rebound from this. I could even go back to school if I wanted to. The world's in front of me. I could do what I want to. So I knew I had to stay in shape. I had to have my mental awareness there. I had to have all my faculties up and running when I reached the end. So I had to prepare for the end. I was preparing for the end of prison. And in order to do that, you have to start at the beginning of the prison sentence.
What was the wildest prison you were in?
Wildest in which way?
Most violent.
Most violent prison?
Even if you weren't personally involved, there's plots that must have that aura.
Prison I was in it's a toss-up. I would say Attica in one. All right, I'll say these 3 off the rip with one special one for a reason. I'd say Attica, Great Meadow Correctional Facility, a.k.a. Comstock, and Kasaki. The last one I would say is Auburn. Auburn, there was a period of time that somebody died in Auburn at least once a year. I had a return trip to Attica in 2012, which I didn't stay too long because I got a ticket, which, a tier 3 ticket for, some bullshit. But I ended up beating the ticket. And my classification came back down and I went to Mount McGregor. But while I was there and hadn't been in a max for so many years, it didn't dawn on me that, damn, while I was there, the bell used to ring all the time. And it would ring twice for inmate on inmate fight. It would ring 3 times for staff and inmate. So if it go bam, bam, you know it was two guys fighting each other. But when it went bam, 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 when it was three, the whole squad would run because, you know, the officers getting popped on, you know. So I would hear it 4 times a day. And you don't think nothing of it. But when you don't hear it for years and then you're put back in it, you're like, whoa, oh, shit. Shit is lit in this fucking place. But Comstock was situational, too. When guys had fights in the yard, they make you lay down on the ground. No matter if it's snow, raining, your ass is going on the ground because they got an AR-15 in the tower and they shoot down on a bucket. I was there for 4 months and made it to honor block. That was a blessing. That was a fucking, I worked in a metal shop or made metal furniture and I was in the honor block. So I was away from the general population, you know, yard. So our thing's kind of isolated being in an honor block, you know, got more privileges and you could stay up later. We had frying pans and shit. Yeah. We could cook real food, you know, over there. But, and the worst max in the state as far as how it's set up and lack of programs and all that is definitely Kasaki. Kasaki had one saving grace. They also had an industry and I worked there for a little more than a year. I was a surge machine operator in Kasaki. That's the machine you use to like stitch the side of like the stitching on your pants. Yeah. The surge machine is what does that. So I used to make 28 dozen pillowcases a day. Oh, there you go. I'd have my Walkman on, listening to Napalm Death. You know, can you imagine that? You're making 28 dozen pillowcases.
A bunch of ladies just drooling on your pillows. You know what I would have been doing with those pillowcases before I sent them? I'll say that on another episode.
No, but I mean, these pillowcases were going to the fellas.
Yeah,
no, you say, yeah, you know, no, wipe your ass with them and hand it to a CO.
let me ask you this. Now, in those violent jails, is it fair to say that most of the jails are black and Spanish?
Oh man, it's a disproportion.
We always hear it. But
thank you so much for saying that to me, bro. I want to get this on the record. While they'll get different numbers because, you know, Census Bureau actually has the numbers. Yeah, I get it one right. Black people in America, or we say formal African Americans, we make up 17% of the U.S. population. It may have gone up a little bit more than that because you have the immigrant blacks who also into the black populace. They're into the number 2. Even if we're 23%, which I don't think we're that much, but maybe even we're that, I will tell you this. White men outnumber black men in America 6.5 to 1. For those of you that live in urban areas that see black people and Latinos all day, I'll tell you a couple of words. These words are Utah, Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota. If you go to those places,
if you're in the Oda.
Yeah, you're in some Oda or Oklahoma. You go to one of these places, the black people are at the university catching the football and slam dunking the basketball. Let me tell you something. Yep. I love my white people. Listen, the black people are minute in those places. If you're from Michigan, Detroit specifically, yeah, you're going to see black folks. If you're from New York, New York City, Albany, Rochester or Buffalo, yeah, you're going to see black folks. If you're from Boston, you're going to see a whole bunch of Irish, but yeah, you're going to see black folks. Brother, if you're in Iowa, you will see that white people outnumber black people 6.5 to 1. Do the math. Let me tell you something. Black people make up 51% of the prison population. Latinos make up 37%. It is ridiculously a disproportionate rate of minorities inside of prisons, and the prison population for state and federal penitentiary is 2.2 million. If you include the county jails and the lockups while people are waiting to go to trial or get drug treatment or whatever, it's 9.6 million Americans incarcerated on a revolving door. They come in from socioeconomic impoverished areas. They get locked up. The DA fucks them around. They get locked up or they fuck themselves around because they can't push their lower desires away and be good husbands and be good fathers because they're either stuck on drugs or they're chasing the illusion of easy money in the street, and they're caught up with all the bullshit and a whole bunch of things extenuating from the fact that our ancestors were either, one, brought here as slaves years and years ago, and we've never
rebounded from that. We have no idea of our culture, our language, our African gods. The people from the Latin American countries, while they also come from strong backgrounds and families, a lot of good working, hard working Catholic families and thing, they end up in the gangs and they end up in the drug selling as well. And this is all by design. Poppy fields don't grow in Brooklyn. How the fuck did the heroin get here? Cocaine doesn't grow in Queens. It's not from Long Beach, California. How the fuck did it get here? If you think one guy with a backpack is going to fucking supply everybody with drugs, it's not happening. Okay? It is absolutely a disproportionate rate, and the crime generative factors are created to keep American people in jobs. If there was actually a war on drugs, no drug cartel has ever owned a F-15, a satellite, a nuclear submarine, or a fucking aircraft carrier. If there was a war on drugs, not an ounce would get over a fucking border. But if there was a war on drugs, drugs create $600 billion a year in revenue. Illegal drugs. If there was a war on drugs, a lot of motherfuckers would be out of work. Police departments, tactical narcotic squads, DAs, ADAs, county clerks, judges, the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, because where there's drugs, there's guns, the Drug Enforcement Agency, all of these people would have to downsize because there would have been a war on drugs, and the drugs wouldn't get here. They'd be stopped at their inception. But instead of actually having a war on drugs, our politicians and bureaucrats speak a lot of bullshit. They don't speak truth to power, and they allow this to happen to keep people in our venture capitalist society in fucking jobs.
I got thrown out of high school. No. Let me ask you this. So, big black population.
Yes.
Now, I want to go in more. I want to see this through your eyes because I've always wondered this. Now, the racism within black on black is there one? Because I've always heard the Jamaicans would show the Jamaicans and, the American blacks with the American. Go into that a little bit because I always found that interesting. You know what I mean?
I got the best of both worlds. Actually, I got the best of four worlds. All right. Obviously, I'm phenotypically black. I got that nice dark caramel complexion. My father's from St. Elizabeth. My father's from St. Andrew, Jamaica. My grandmother is from St. Andrew, Jamaica. My grandfather's from St. Elizabeth. Now, my grandfather is what the old people used to say back in the day, a mulatto. His mother was Scottish. She had blonde hair and blue eyes. His father now was black and native from the Jamaican soil. They used to, they call them the Buck people. He's like real dark red-skinned man. My great-grandfather passed away 2 weeks before I got locked up for this. And their first child is my grandfather, Stanley, who's 95 years old now, and I love my grandpa. He's half black and half white. His wife, my grandma Jean, God bless her, who is also alive, they've been married 70 years and she's 90, is half black. My great-grandmother looked like she came right off the Amistad. She is jet black, and her husband was full-blooded Chinese. His name was Leslie Chung. So my grandmother's half black and half Chinese, but both of them are Jamaicans. Now, if somebody says...
Chimaicans.
Chimaicans, what do you call it? What do you used to say? Blackanese. Yeah, they Blackanese. So now, when you look, somebody said, how is that possible? Well, Jamaica was a crown colony of England. At the same time, they had the sailing routes over here, and they set up shop. Captain Morgan was the governor of Jamaica. Now he's on the rum bottle.
Yeah.
Hong Kong was a Commonwealth of England for 99 years as well. It was under the protectorate of that. India was also under the crown colony of England. So, the Union Jack, they used to say the Union Jack, the sun never sets on the Union Jack because the British were all over the place. Well, the people that used to unload the ships in Jamaica were Indians, East Indians, and Chinese. So you have a lot of Indians in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, Trinidad, as well as on the mainland in South America and Guyana. You have a lot of Indian. You have quite a number of Chinese there. So my family is actually made up of different ethnicities. My mother's side of the family, they came from a descendancy of African slaves, freed slaves, and Cherokee Indians. My mother's from Augusta, Georgia. So, they put all my native family down there, and the African slaves, had got freed, emancipated in 1865. And my bloodline is that. So I am black, Native American, Scottish, and Chinese.
America.
They're the best, And when you look at blacks having this animosity towards one another, they were taught this. There was a plantation owner, his name was Willie Lynch, or William Lynch, Willie Lynch. And he had a philosophy of how to break the slaves and to keep them under wraps. He would have one slave as his field slave and give him a whip. So he would supervise the other slaves and whip them. The lighter skinned slaves, who usually were the result of rape from one of the slave hands or the slave master himself raping one of the black women, they would have little offspring that would be light skinned. They would put the light skinned blacks inside the plantation house and let them clean up and wash dishes and sew dresses and, and tend to maybe the horses. But the black, dark ones, they would keep in the field, keep doing all the grunt work. This caused a division between the light skin and the black, the dark black, the true African black.
Yeah.
And it caused a degree of self-hate and, deprecation on the part of the people. For those that can read on the plantation, only one was allowed to read. That was usually the slave that he favored, that he gave the whip. The only thing they were allowed to read was the Bible. So they would show them depictions of Christ as a white guy with beautiful, like sandy, dark blonde hair and say, this is your God. This is the image that you are to espouse. And the only person that was allowed to read was 9 times out of 10, the same guy that cracked that whip. And then you're hearing these things like give unto Caesar that which is Caesar. Pretty much submit yourself, to the eyes of God. If the plantation owner said to do this, by God, you're going to do this.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Well, Willie Lynch had a whole thing mapped out that they had like a little convention for slave owners. And he came up with a method of how to break the slaves and to keep them mentally enslaved. That same tradition lives today. Now, you'll look at somebody and say, why are black people so messed up? Why are they dysfunctional? You see what happened to this group? You see what happened to that group? They've gotten their shit together. Well, here, I will tell everybody this for hopefully the final time, which I doubt will be the final time. I want to tell everybody that tells me this because I love Irish people. I absolutely love. I read Cage 11. I read Ballymurphy. I'm a supporter of Sinn Féin. I love Irish people. Okay, we're going to get that right off the rip. And I support the Irish people to the north. Okay, and all the people in their struggles. So I love Irish people. Let me tell you something. I get an Irish guy come to me, Irish American guy who's never been to Belfast, never been to Dublin. He ain't never went over there, right? Which I love to go one day myself. He says, well, Irish people went through problems too. We don't bellyache about our situation. Well, brother, how much do you know about Ireland? You got a guy walking around here, Irish guy, boom. I know more probably about Ireland than you do. First and foremost. Second and foremost, well, my proud Celtic people, they never lost their language. Celtic language is still there. You could speak Gaelic, can't you? Can you still river dance? Yes, you can. Can you wear a kilt? Yes, you can. And by the grace of God, every year we celebrate St. Patrick's Day. I even went to Catholic Mass this year, and they were playing bagpipes, and I was the only black person in the Catholic Church and got hugged by a bunch of little Irish ladies. So don't give me that shit. They say, oh, we suffer too. The Jewish people. I love my Jewish people. I love them to death. Baruch atoi Adonai Eloheinu. I love Jewish people. They say we were in a Holocaust, but look, we'll never forget, and we've rebounded. Let me ask you a question. Can you still speak Hebrew? Yes. Can you speak Yiddish? Yes. By the grace and glory of God. Do you have a country of your own? Yes, you do. The great Israel. You have it. And you have one of the best intelligence networks on the planet. You have everything going for you. You have your infrastructure there. Got a little problem with the Palestinians. Oh, well, God willing, one day you'll work it out. But listen, you still have a homeland and a language that you have. What do black people have? We have 129 African languages, over 400 dialects, and we can't speak any of them. We have 53 African countries in the continent of Africa. We don't know where we fucking come from. So when people start telling you why are black people so angry and why they say, well, when you've been stripped of everything, and then it's been supplanted with something else. And then you push these people forward for 20 generations. You expect them to be functional? If we were enslaved for 400 years, it would need 400 years of fucking therapy just to get us right.
Yeah. Nah. And this is still, do you still feel the effects of this in prison with the blacks?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Because obviously it's also a spot where you find information and guys should be able to be figuring it out like you.
Well, here's
you know what I mean?
Here's the beauty of that. I'm both Caribbean black and African American black. My mother's Augusta, Georgia. My dad's from St. Andrew, Jamaica. The Caribbean people have a type of a cultural consciousness that's lacking here. See, when you come from a third world country, you know, your work ethic is different. You're not expecting to be given something. Your mind is, man, I got to work for everything I get. And if you're any Caribbean people out there listening to this, y'all know exactly what I mean. And any Latin Americans, y'all going to know what I mean. Anybody that, you know, a lot of people from Europe and Asia, you got on to South America, y'all going to understand this. You know, it's like we get up early in the morning and we work hard. You go work for what you get. The way America is designed, they have social programs where people, I mean, I know they started some of this type of thing too also in Europe, where people could live off the dole. People could live off welfare and skate by like that. People from third world countries, right? People from third world countries, they think like, listen, I got to work hard for everything that I get. Okay? They're not expecting anyone to give them anything. So my family came from Jamaica in 1956. My dad was 9 years old. My grandmother scrubbed floors, worked in the hospital. By the time she retired as a nutritionist in that same hospital. My grandfather worked in a factory until he retired in America. They literally worked hard. They worked to the point where they were homeowners. They have rental properties. My dad went to the military. Like I said earlier, he was in Vietnam, came home, went to police academy in 1972, and he had a great job, you know, for 30 years. My uncle, my aunt, everybody was educated, and they had the same work ethic that my grandparents brought over from Jamaica with them. You know, my mother's side of the family, contrary to that, the American side, housing projects, dysfunction, broke up, a lot of single mothers, including my mom and dad. They weren't together, but my father and the family said, yo, are we grandson? We'll take care of we grandson. We not leave with picnic, you know. But the American side of my family, a lot of dysfunction, a lot of alcoholism, a lot of improper diet, a lot of hypertension, heart issues. Yeah, you know, things that are prototypical or stereotypical amongst black people. My mother's side of the family, but it's lacking something, and that's by design in this country. You know, before we had integration, black people had more cohesiveness. Around the time of Lyndon Baines Johnson, LBJ's administration, that started to fall apart. You know, and black people started falling apart as small communities. You know, we used to rally around the black church, have more community activism for us. But once we got integrated into the greater American society, you would have think that would have helped. No, it pretty much broke us up.
How many kids, black kids, ethnic kids, or just people locked up in prison take advantage of trying to learn these things while they're in there? You know, using the situation you're in to break it down.
I'm going to tell you the thing. I've cried over this. I've literally cried over this. Do you know who, not to say that my black students that I've had over the years, I have some great ones. Oh, man, I got some black kids, man, that are monsters. You know, and there's a lot of brothers in the Nation of Gods and Earths. I fasted with the NOI, the Nation of Islam guys. You know, I love them too. You know, but, you know, I've had a lot of good students, but sometimes it's hard to beat the rap music on the TV and the gang membership that a lot of guys espouse. You know, hey, listen, if you're going to join the gang, man, I'm not going to knock you down for it. But let me tell you something. Let your gang be about something. If it's not going to bear any fruit, if your gang's not putting you to college and getting you a job, man, I think you need to recheck this shit. You need to reevaluate this, because you're not going to be a street kid your whole life. You're going to be an old man one day, and you need some healthcare benefits and some fucking place to sleep. Now, the sad thing, this is what I cried over. My greatest students in jail listening to me or what I had to offer and the knowledge I've acquired over the years, my greatest students that would sit down were young white kids. Listen, let me tell you, I've had a young white kid, heavy metal kid say, yo, man, I didn't know those things. You got a book? I said, I got like 30 books in my cell. Let me read that. And I've created some monsters. I had some white kids go, my boy Joseph Ree, wherever you are, Joseph J. Yeah, I know this kid used to eat the books. He's breaking down Black history to other black kids, and the black kids are like, whoa. My brother Casey Stewart, God willing, we're gonna fight for you to get home next year, brother. I love you very much. KC breaks down Black history. If you didn't see his face, you would have think that he's in the NOI. This kid is a white kid, looked like Justin Timberlake, good looking boy, tall, blonde-headed boy. And when you see the boy knows Black history. All you got to do is put a bow tie on him. I swear to God. The kid, listen, he's breaking down African history. He's breaking down, Egyptian. He's going to Timbuktu with it. He's going back, all the way up the Nile because, the Nile travels from the south to the north to the Delta. He's breaking down Black history. It's hard to get young Black people involved and young Latinos involved because their concept of their self-image, their concept of self-love and self-worth has been diminished by the environments that they're in. And it's horrible. And this is a reflection of that. I don't want to get off the topic. This is a reflection. Black lives matter. All lives matter.
Yeah.
This is the truth. All right. Black lives matter. Do Black lives matter now that the white police officer that's doing his 9-to-5 job, maybe he was a little bit trigger happy. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he's a little bit burnt out because he's always responding to calls of violence in the capacity that he works. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just calling things as they're presented. This is a white cop working in a Black neighborhood, but in said Black neighborhood, there's several gang shootings. There's domestic violence. It's happening. So when he pulls the gun, what am I facing on this day? Now, I'm a Black guy telling you I don't want nobody to get shot in their back, no matter who is it, a million times.
Yeah.
I don't want you to get shot 40-something times, 15 times. I don't want to see that on World News Tonight, a guy walk down with his Glock 17 and empty it into a kid's back. I don't want to see it, but the stage is set. Where the fuck do you live? Oh, you're in Chicago? Chicago has gang shootings every fucking day.
Yeah.
Do Black lives matter then?
Yeah.
You should be more upset when Black people kill each other than ever when a white cop kills them. You should be appalled at a Black guy killing another Black guy because that fucking guy is your brother. He is your cousin.
Yeah.
His ancestors were brought over here on slave ship. So don't tell me Black lives matter when you ain't taken to the street when another Black guy shoots another Black guy.
How many Black guys in prison feel like you? If you had give a ballpark of...
If I had to give a number from 1 to 100?
Yeah, a percentage.
12 guys.
It's crazy.
12 guys out of the 100.
Yeah.
And we all sit in the same classroom every Thursday night.
That's why I say this, because I know how people could be presented the same food and everybody is going to taste it different.
Well, here's the thing. You got to throw in all the other factors. Why don't the other guys feel like the other fucking 88 guys out of the 100? Why they don't feel like that? Well, it's very simple. They got a whole bunch of shit going on with them too.
Yeah.
I go on a visit. Let's say my father comes to visit me. Yo, son. They talk to me. Yo, chemistry. Yo, what up? Yo, Ja, yo, Scotty, what's up? Yo, that was your old man came to visit you? You look just like him. Say, yeah, that's my father. Man, yo, that's good, son. Yo, I ain't never met my father before. Like, damn, man. Or another one go, yo, chemistry, yes, yo, what's up, man? Say, yo, that was your old man came to see you? Say, yeah, man, yo, my father never, man, I don't even fuck with that nigga. That nigga left my mom's when I was, animosity. I'm one of the fortunate ones. I actually raised up knowing my dad. He's coming to visit me in the jail. You got that. You got guys with drug addiction, alcohol problems, low education, no education, baby mama drama, all kind of fucking thing. And when you tell them about some black history, some empowerment, get yourself together, love yourself, love your fellow man, they ain't trying to hear that. I'm like, nigga, please, I need some money. I need some money for this lawyer to get the fuck up out of this jail. So their minds aren't going there because they're clouded by illusions. You tell a guy, all right, perfect case in point. If I put the book of secrets, the book of knowledge, you know, the fucking book is glowing on the table, it's glowing, you know, it's radiating heat, this fucking book. And I put a brand new pair of fucking LeBron James sneakers up there. Which one is the black kid going to take? He's like, man, I see a glowing book. I don't know about it, man. I like these kicks, though. I got the jeans to go with these pieces. Yeah. They not gonna, you and I, we going to pick up the book of secrets, and we can have all the fucking sneakers we want. This kid over here, he don't want that. We go and watch Minister Farrakhan on the thing. He dropping some jewels on us. We like, damn, man, yo, the minister is profound. I love the minister. And, you know, the other guy said, man, I don't want to hear none of that shit. That nigga don't be checking for none of us in the black community. But here's the thing. Why don't you check for yourself? He's telling you to empower yourself to do righteous for you. Even if you don't partake in all the philosophy and everything of the Nation of Islam, there's food for thought. You can learn a little bit from everybody, you know?
Yeah. What, coming from where you came from, because I know where you came from, we're like, we comfortable in packs, you know.
Yeah.
With our people of the same kind. What kept you from not getting caught up with the Bloods or with whoever was in there?
Well,
because being hit with the charge you were hit, it's easy to start. Like I said, we know you could go a couple of ways. You could go full blown fuck the world, and I'm gonna make these things. I'm gonna give them what they claiming I am, or you know what I mean. Or you could go with the try to fix yourself like you have.
Listen, you don't need a PhD nor a crystal ball to see things for what they're worth. Look, I'm a DMS member. I'm a founding father. I love my family, but I'll put this to the test with anything else in this world. When a person tells you they affiliated with something, let's look at it for what it's worth. Guys will tell me that, yo, listen, I'm a Blood. None of their brothers come to visit them. They don't put the homies are sitting on the stoop right now. One of them, we being realistic, I ain't trying to be facetious or funny. You're locked up. The homies are sitting on the stoop right now. They smoking that fucking Hindu Kush. They rolling it up. Yo, what's up with whoever? You know what I'm saying? What's up with Bobby? You know what I'm saying? What's up with Mikey? Yo, what's up with Tyrone? Yo, that nigga locked up. All of y'all there, y'all got new kicks on, jeans hanging off your ass and thing. Got your rag, your flag showing. And any one of y'all could put up a $20 bill, a $10 bill and say, let's put all that money to give it to his baby mama so she can have some money to buy some Pampers and some formula for the baby. Let's go see his moms. Yo, everybody, yo, man, throw some money in the hat. Throw it in the fitted. Yo, we gonna throw some money in the fitted and bring 200 to his moms. Yo, let's do that once a month. So he got some money in his commissary and she can keep the phone on. Shit like that. They don't do that. Because I'm in the jail with all of the guys that are these things. And you'd be lucky if they hear from any of their homies.
I know, it's crazy.
And then one of them is trying to fuck their girl.
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, or she trying to throw the pussy at them because that nigga ain't never coming home. And I need a baby daddy for my little man. And, you know, I'm out here struggling and she's trying to live her life. So now when you look at that and I see things for what they are, I said, man, I'm mentally above this. Y'all not trying to pull your resources and create any better opportunities for yourself. You're not trying to get an education, create a small business for one of your homies to come home to, or any type of thing like that. Where, contrary to that, you know, we elevated from our street life ways and we got into the music. Our graffiti turned into graphics. It turned into T-shirts. It became, you know, MQ in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in San Francisco. We went from Krylon to Canvas. We went from the studio to tour. We stopped that and went on. So I said, I'm fine. I'm fine right in me. I got everything I need. I don't have a dollar on me, but I'm rich.
There was a time when you were locked up, like I said, when we lost contact. This is why I said that there's a thing about you that it's amazing to me. Who were you? Who did you have in your life when we weren't in contact with each other, that 10-year period, who was, besides, I don't know, your mom, your pop, I don't know who you was in contact with. Did you have a handful of people who was the people you were that were around in your life at that time that were out on the streets?
Well, I had mom and dad, my biological parents. I had them with me. I ended up meeting my second parents, my godparents, Charles and Teresa Feathers, who are my brother KC's parents. I used to go down on visits with him when we were in Eastern. We could go down together. And one day he suggested that we get an extra package in my name, so then we had 70 pounds of food instead of having 35. And that spun into his mother pretty much taking me and adopting me. And that's where I live now. That's where I paroled to. My biological mother lives in Brooklyn. My dad lives down in Florida. Both of them are retired. But I had them. I had, our brother Soraya. For pretty much until 2006, he rode with me. It is a whole bunch of thing there, but he was coming to see me. I had you in my life sporadically, but it is understood you were on tour, you were recording music, you were going through your own joys and trials and tribulation. It was a mixed group of people, I met members of the church, men in Kairos. I got my facilitatorship for Alternative to Violence. I met a lot of beautiful people.
Because I always wondered what happened during that time period. Because when we reconnected, the last bunch of years, we grew. All of us, our family grew, and we were able to do more. As what happened with you saw more people coming. We were able to do more things, and make more moves, make more waves. If it's trying to help you out, financially or with your case,
I think that had to happen that way. I think that I have this metaphor, or analogy rather. Of creating a man. The process of creating a man is the same as creating a sword. And the Japanese were famous for this. They make the katana, the mighty katana sword. There's nothing like it on this earth. And they would fold and forge this metal. They would mix the iron with the clay, and they would put it, and they would smelt it, and they would put it in the fire, and they bring it back out, and they beat it and fold it, and then they put it back in the fire and they kill. And they take it out, and it's red hot, and they beat it until all the impurities come out. And the process of beating it like that gets the little air bubbles out, and it gets the slag off it. And they beat it 200 times until it's a dense piece of steel. And they cool it in the water, and they shine this thing. And these swords could cut straight through body armor like butter, like a hot knife through butter. Well, that same process is used to make a man. You put them in the fire, and you beat away the impurities and the little air bubbles and all the bullshit and all the dumb shit that was forced upon them and, subtly put upon them. And you beat all that shit away. And if you don't crack in that process, because sometimes the metal cracks and you got to start it over. If you don't crack in that process of making that man or making that sword, you come out a katana. And that's what happened to me. And what happened, the period of time that we were separated from each other, that was a needed thing. Me going to prison was a needed thing in order for me now to come out the sword that I am.
Yeah, because we know we lost a lot of people that were headed there or ended up there and took the other route with just the whole fuck the world and I'm going to go out. The way the angry way, the way people expected us to do it.
There's a thing with that, man, that's heartbreaking, for me. I'm saddened at the fact that, and I'll always be saddened of it, you go through moments of clarity, but when I think about it, I'm saddened by the fact that I wasn't there to help them and counsel them and love them the way that they needed and the way they deserved. My brother Isaac Beatty, our brother, he's gone now. Javier, Saab from the band Marauder, he's gone now. Archie Califatis, who was my little brother. You know, I went to high school with his older brother, Peter. Archie is gone now. I mean, and then the list goes on for us. You know, Boston Mike, Two Hips, our brother Triggs. Triggs a couple of years ago was murdered. You know, Beast, Maniac, Daryl was killed. You know, crashed the car. You know, if I could have been home for any of them, and to talk to them, to share with them, to hug them, to kiss them, you know, I would give anything in the world if I had the opportunity to do that again. That's the painful thing about being in prison, man. You know, people are going through struggle, and I know that they would listen to me, but you're not there to facilitate giving them that soul food, you know, giving them that, you know, that knowledge of self, man, that they need, man. So, you know, that's a painful thing for me. You know?
Yeah, you know, again, I know I always thought, I was like, man, it's so hard here, and to be there, we lost a lot of good people. And after you think about the people we lost, you think about the people that we lost that are still alive, like guys that we thought we had lost you know, even in the system, you know, other guys that were in the system and had to go on the run because of some shit and end up getting killed. You know, I still don't believe that you came out the way you did. This is the thing. You came out the way the system sells the system. You tell me they do offer the tools, but they ain't gonna build shit for you.
Right.
9 out of 10 guys that come out of there don't come back. What doing the time you did, they come back, they're broken or they're bitter on life. Once in a while, we get a situation like you. I don't know, why I say you, because you had a chance to come out. You did your thing, and they were still fucking you near the end. They made you do more time, but obviously way more time.
Yeah.
You know, even at the end, you did the time they tell you, and they wanted to stretch it out. Well, you know, to the end. To still come out and still not be like an extra fuck you is still.
You know something? The ignorant man's way would be to be angry.
I'm ignorant.
No. You're not ignorant. No, I gotta explain it to you. Look, no, you're not ignorant. Listen to what I'm saying. All right. The people who are hired to run the jail, they're doing a job. All the great men and women at the Department of Corrections, wherever they're doing a job, man. Sometimes, you know, rarely. It's not an everyday thing. Some of them are complete scumbags. You know, they come to work and they fuck with people and they beating dudes and they hospitalize them, which is all the way to murdering them. Most correction officers are good men and women. They're working 9 to 5 to pay their mortgage and pay their taxes. They do their 8 hours and go home, or they'll do a double shift, 16 hours, go home. The officers on the street, they got the most brutal job you can imagine next to being a fireman or a soldier in the United States military, or any military for that matter. Tough job. Coast Guard, pick a thing. These guys work hard, okay? They're not bad people. The job makes some of them bad. You're dealing with some bad people that you have as wards of your jail, too, with a mentality of fuck these COs and fuck you too, cracker, or, you know, fuck this dude. Fuck everything, you know, and, you know, it turns people bitter. There should be some counseling for correction officers and inmates when we come home, and for them. You know who the highest suicide rate of all law enforcement is? Correction officers.
Wow.
They have the highest rate because they're locked in there with us, and it becomes desensitized to violence because you see it every day. And it's a post-traumatic stress that grows on you. And so now I got empathy for the people. I could separate me being a ward of the jail from the reality of the situation. Yeah, I understand where I am, but I could look now with a second sight and see things from another perspective. Man, these guys are Americans just like me. Some of them have less intelligence than me. God bless them. They can't see things for what, oh, you're just an inmate. No, I'm so much more.
Yeah.
If you listen to me, I'd help you. I'd hug you. Do you know that? No, you're just an inmate. Before I came home, I was hugged by 7 COs.
Yeah.
I was hugged by 7 correction officers that were hired to fucking count me at night. They hugged me before I left, and they said, "We know you're not coming back." People, when you're real, they see you really for what you are.
Yeah.
And I know that what these people do for a living, that they, as individuals, are bad people. You know, you're going to have some racist people.
Yeah.
You're going to have some crazy ones. You're going to have some abusive ones. But everybody's not like that. If I could see life like that and know that there's powers that be that are way above our pay scale, I have no choice but to see things with an open mind and an open consciousness. I know none of these people that work in the Department of Corrections or people that did me wrong, none of them are the bureaucracy. They work for the bureaucracy. They're no shot callers.
Yeah.
They don't work, and they're not state legislators. Shit, they don't get invited to any of these soirees and government functions where that's Senator so-and-so and that's Congressman so-and-so. Man, you're just a fucking turnkey. You're not even a pawn on the chessboard.
Yeah.
You're the fucking square that they play the fucking political chess on.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm under the fucking board. We're under the board. The other motherfucker, you're just a square because you're a worker here. You know? And now I could see beyond. So I wouldn't be bitter. Because like I said, like somebody will look and say, yeah, the problem, like one guy went on a Facebook like 2 weeks ago and he was saying, yeah, the problem is that, people, assholes are selling drugs. So I answered him back on the Facebook, just, me being me, without any sarcasm. I said, well, we as Americans have short memory. Do you remember Iran-Contra? Do you realize that during the Bush administration, the father Bush, who I will say this, I admire a lot. The man was fucking incredible. World War II fucking pilot, got shot down over the Pacific in Midway. He was the drug czar while heading a company that made the very chemicals they used to process heroin. Then he was a director of the CIA. Then he went from that to being the vice president. Then he became the president. That man is the baddest motherfucker to walk on U.S. soil. George H.W. Bush, he done set the groundwork for his son to be the president for 2 terms, and then for his other son to be the governor of Florida. Oh, my God. Papa Bush, I love you, man. Because if I could look up to any motherfucker in this world, but woo, it'd be like you, George H.W. Bush, Minister Farrakhan, and Bob Marley. Because I know them 3 right there is the baddest.
Right now, there's some white people and black people's brain cells popping if they could see you your face saying all this about Bush. It's amazing.
Let me tell you, this is what I say. Regardless of the policies and anything, I just got to say, who the fuck flies a Navy Course Air, gets shot down in World War II, goes in, back then they were called the OSS, go from the Navy to going in, you become the fucking director of the CIA, you's a bad motherfucker. I don't give a fuck, Republican, Democrat, fuck all of that. Fuck all of that.
Just bad motherfucker.
Fucking guy, you went to college, Skull and Bones, you go to Yale, this man is beautiful. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine? Look at that fucking resume.
Yeah.
And he says, we're going to light up the skies with 1,000 points of light and throw up his, he throw up his little flag, he throw up his compass, his 33 in the 3rd degree Masonic. He says, we will light up the sky with he was like, goddamn, you's a bad motherfucker. George H.W. Bush is one of the most beautiful men, not just American, profound fucking people. Love him or hate him, the policies, I don't care about that. I'm just what shapes the man. How the fuck? My God.
Yeah.
That resume is impressive. Not only, there's some people get political clout and they reach the top, but they didn't do no grunt work. The man was a fucking fighter pilot.
Yeah. You gotta give him that.
The man was a fighter pilot. Watch it now.
Yeah.
The man went to college, educated. The man was in his Skull and Bones,
Connected.
The man connected. The man ran the CIA.
Yeah.
Vice president.
Crazy.
2 times. Yeah. President 1. And then put his sons in position to beat. Love him or hate him. Forget a policy. What a fucking resume. So when I look at the man, I can separate all the things that are involved with him, but look at his own resume. If I said that was my relative, I say, shit, I'm proud to have him as a motherfucking uncle. Hey, that motherfucker's fucking gangster. But, Same thing with Minister Farrakhan. Somebody would jump up and say, "Oh, but yeah, he got issues with white people and with the Jews." But listen, let's stop for a minute. The man was a calypso singer. His wife, his beautiful wife, got him to come to One Nation of Islam. At a meeting. Where they came together with Elijah Muhammad, and he came and he was blown away by the message that was there. And from that time coming up, Malcolm X, and he's coming up with everything. He came up and became the Minister Farrakhan we know. The man's a concert violinist. The man speaks several languages. The man is a great orator. The man has the power of elocution unlike any you've seen before. I could sit and listen to him speak for hours.
Yeah, I've seen him on TV once, so let me check him out just to listen. And he had me motivated, and I'm Spanish. No, I ain't even black dude.
But he speaks a message for everybody. So, on one side, I tell you, yeah, I admire George H.W. Bush. On the other, I can admire the great man.
Yeah.
General Colin Powell. Great man, 2-time tour in Vietnam, United States Army Ranger, the 4-star general. Are you serious? Whose resume looks like that?
Yeah.
These are great people. So when you get a level of consciousness that you could separate all the other BS from the person or your situation, and you could look at the whole picture, frame included, where we're programming this society just to look at the frame. You're looking at the frame. That's like the ignorant guy saying he's blaming all of his problems on some ethnic group in America. I'm going to blame the potential for all my problems on Mexicans coming over the border or the potential of Arabs being terrorists. I'm going to blame all of my problems or unrealized problems on someone else. But I don't have the wherewithal. I have introspection and say the real problem with me is me, my consumerism, my myopic thinking, and my failure to think outside of the box, my craving for my desires over my needs. You can't afford that flat screen TV, but you're going to buy it.
Yeah.
But you need to pay your mortgage.
Yeah.
You need to pay that car insurance. But I'm going to get the flat screen. Honey, you can't afford them Jimmy Choo shoes, but you're going to buy them. But that Honda need car insurance. You see, we as Americans, we don't think right. We consume, and we don't think correct. So the only person to blame in our hardships ultimately is us.
Yeah. Now, were you saying that? Now we fast forward. You're out. You just been out a month.
Right.
You knowing what you know, but now you're coming out and you've seen the world of today. There's plenty that has changed.
Oh, yeah.
What is one of the what do you think is one of the most mind-blowing changes since you've been out?
Do you mean socially or technologically?
Whatever.
I think the one thing that's blowing my mind are the young people. Mm-hmm. A lot of the young people, and each generation always say, the old timers always ragging on the kids. They're like, our parents got on us. Oh, you kids, it ain't like it was in the past. No, I'm going to tell you this. We're similar to our parents in this regard. We got disciplined when we were kids. We didn't have this false sense of entitlement that the young people have now. We had a degree of respect. Even when we were out in the streets selling drugs and doing crazy shit and wilding out, we still would help an old lady with her bags.
Yeah.
We still would give the old man a seat on the bus. We still would help a pregnant woman no matter where I got a soft heart for pregnant women. I'm going to help them no matter where I see them. I'll even get down on my feet and on my knees and rub they swollen legs. I love pregnant women. I'll help them anytime I can. Now, little kids. I was selling them. Been some time, man. I'll go see my little brother. I got a pocket full of fucking cocaine. I'll go over here, man. I'll take all the little kids for ice cream. Come on, everybody get ice cream.
Yeah, of course.
You're still gonna love kids. So we wasn't so far gone that we became animals. Man, since I've been home, what I've seen, and being that we work here in the tattoo parlor, young people come in to get tattoos. Now everybody's been good. I love our clients and things, and people have been smiling and people hug me. But what I've noticed is their social interaction with each other and other people. This generation here has a false sense of entitlement. Many of them have a false sense of superiority. They feel that somebody owes them something with minimal work ethic. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Who owes you a fucking thing? Get up and go get it properly, have some respect. I get on the bus. I get on the 905 bus. My family dropped me over there. I get on the bus because, I ain't get my driver's license yet. So I take the bus into the city. And I was sitting in the front of the bus. I was like in the 8th seat, the first group of seats that turn facing the bus driver. Now I'm sitting there. It's starting to fill up. A little old lady gets on the bus. The two guys sitting right behind the bus driver, they man spreading out like this. They got their music plugged in, their phone, their headphones plugged into the jack, bobbing. They just look the old lady up and down. They don't get out of their seat to give the old lady the seat. These boys are young enough to be my sons.
Yeah.
I'm 45 years old. I get out of the seat and I said, Mama, come here. And she looked at me with so like relieved.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, honey. What the fuck is it? Get the fuck up and give the old lady the seat. Are we so detached from reality that we don't help old people? This is the worst thing that I've seen since I've been home. And, we went to the tattoo convention yesterday, and I said this before, and this is heartbreaking, that you see people go to venues and they act as though they don't want to be there. Yet you voluntarily came here.
Yeah.
You're walking around with a scowl on your face.
Everybody trying to be hard, walking around with the screw face.
And what the fuck is that? You wanted to come to the tattoo convention. Smile, motherfucker.
Let me ask you this. Besides your family, besides your loved ones, what did you miss? What did you miss about besides your freedom? Was it going to shows, which I know you miss? Was it food? Was it women? Of course, they all of the above. But what did you miss? Like, if you were able to pick one of those, besides women.
All right, let me break it down.
Something that you missed that if you could have picked it, you would have chosen to take your ride.
This is going to strike a chord with you in particular. What I missed above all, and I'll gleefully and gladly say this, is that I missed hardcore. I missed my hardcore. No. This is not somebody else's hardcore. This is my hardcore. We're going to get this straight now. I miss the camaraderie of being a member of the hardcore scene. That every place that I've been to, from New York City to Boston to Chicago, Illinois to Philadelphia. Shout out to my boy, DJ Stress Davis. White boy, I love you. Yo, Giants are going to smash the Eagles this year, by the way. Philadelphia Chickens. Yo, listen. Yo, what's up, Chuck Treese? I love you down there, everybody in Philadelphia. Yo, and my boy, Clean Crew. I love all y'all down there in Philly. Listen, whatever hardcore scene that I've been to, from every stage dive and every flip off the stage and every picking up change and top rocking, moshing, I miss them Doc Marten boots. I miss my straight edge kids. I miss my gothic honeys, my vampire girls looking sexy standing by the bar. I missed my scene. It's second to none on this planet. It is unlike anything on this earth. Hardcore, punk rock, gutter punk, get the extra super hole hairspray, stand up your mohawk and spike out your hair. I missed GBH and the Exploited. I missed Circle Jerks. I missed Fear. I missed DOA. I missed my Bad Brains. I missed the Cro-Mags, Agnostic Front, Youth of Today. I missed Uniform Choice. I missed my band, Scream. I missed from Chicago, the Mighty Life Sentence. I missed my thing, SSD Control, Slap Shot. I missed my shit, metamorphosized into Mad Ball, Hate Breed. I missed my scene. This is my fucking scene. You want something? You don't know what you have hearing this. And when you go to your next hardcore show, you hug every fucking person there. And why I'm gonna tell you that? Because there ain't none of them motherfuckers in prison. Because when you in prison, you ain't got no motherfucker don't know no napalm death. They don't know no prong. They don't know nothing about no fucking crumb suckers. They don't know nothing about none of that. No Ludi Christ, you know what I'm saying? Sex and violence. You don't know nothing about no Murphy's Law. Jimmy Gestapo, I love you, baby. Listen. You don't know nothing about no Scarhead, man. That shit don't exist in the penal system. What I missed above all is the brotherhood, the camaraderie, not just our personal brotherhood with our own individual family, but the brotherhood of the hardcore scene. All my straight edge kids, all my skinheads, all my punk rockers, all my skaters, my thrashers, kids on snowboards, anybody that listened to hardcore, Judge, Bold, Breakdown, Kick Back. Yo, Jeff, I'm gonna see you when I see you, brother. I love you. Listen, I miss my music. Brick by brick. Mikey, I love you. You big monster.
What more can I say but hardcore, all our family, we're blessed to have you back with us. I don't even want you to say anymore. What you just said, that got to resonate with the people. We're going to come back. When we come back, we're going to talk about where you've lived. We're going to do a follow-up in a couple of months, and we're going to keep tabs on what you've been doing since you've been out. Right now, before we go, I want you to let people know what you're doing and what the website, your web pages, all that stuff, because we're working against the penal system, and I want to make sure we get enough time to get you back in time.
All right. Listen, I'm going to say this. Y'all could go on my Facebook. It's at Free Scott Ebanks Facebook, or Scott Ebanks. My brother is with 2 T's. They spell it SCOTTEBANKS. I have another little thing that I set up. It's called the Path of Most Resistance. I set it up. I would like people to log on and drop me some lines, send me some pictures. Your experience in your hardcore scene. I want to post some stuff up there from bands and interact with everybody. The Path of Most Resistance, man, positive and progressive. I also am planning on putting my own band together. We got that setting up. I got to get some brothers to jam with, as well as do my performance.
You home, poetry. Nigga. You home.
Oh, listen, man.
The world is yours, dude.
But listen, man. Listen, I got a treat for you, man. That we gonna go out like this, man. Listen, this is the MVP, yo. This is MVP poetry. The parameters of my sound make weak minds shake like a Southern California level 9 earthquake. Richter scales bend as I spin spoken word never heard far above little mortal men. Emperor of one megaton, I ignite mind sight when I twist the esoteric third optic. Born to lead, true indeed, through this gift, spirit lifts, spark of life from the lips of Uset's sacred kiss. Come one, come all, guerrillas, thugs, and outlaws, housewives, and street whores. Every knee must bow to the god of hardcore. I am the truth manifest like nipples on the breasts of a sweet young honey at a wet t-shirt contest. I recite at speeds of light on primeval decibels. Deceleration of my word flow makes dogs and dolphins hear whistles. Asar Neb Unk, I am universally elemental. My alpha waves generate altered states, tectonic plates shift and move nice and smooth to my tsunami crowd groove. You dig? This epigrammatic dynamic is atmospheric without a taint of pretense towards the melodramatic. Yet I epitomize talent while maintaining cosmic balance on stage, on film, in concert, or wherever the ball is. I'm poetry's MVP. The architect never sweats when I build and reveal landscapes with charismatic skill. Balling like a czar, my crossovers leave scars over tribal break beats and drop tune guitars. I am heavy metal, apocalypto, splendid grace and full glory, paragon of pantheon, ancient deity and new body. Can't stop me, Attica, keep lock me. My vibrations are quantum divine, chemistry. Slam if you can, I don't give a damn. I'll bomb your weak performance like Kabul, Afghanistan. The M1 plasma gun, you may call me lava tongue. Foolish mortals get scorched for mocking the warrior from Brooklyn. Bucktown, always down, born and bred in the planet's underground. Punk rock, I won't stop. Twist more heads than an 80s drug spot. So hot, lines bin blocks. Must re-up on chapbooks because word fiends must cop. Full metal, head knock. Field goal your cerebellum, seconds left. Confetti's drops, I remain on top. Game over. I'm poetry's MVP. Chemistry, y'all. Peace.
Smoking word, we out.
Demonstrate my style. Let that be known. Demonstrate my style. I'm not alone. Follow the path of no one else. So it's not being true to myself. I speak my mind from deep inside. Years pass and people change. Now I'm staying true to my way. Hardcore my life, I'll carry the name. Demonstrate my style. Let that be known. Demonstrate my style. We're not alone. Give respect where respect is due. To those who know what we've been through. We can all relate in our own way. To get past that people change. But I'm staying true to my way. On towards my life, I'll carry the name. To those who put us down, we won't see you around, 'cause you're too scared of me. To those who love the sound,